Hello YouTube, I'm back after a little bit with a new deck. This time it's going to be my Unchained deck that I took to the Providence Regional this past weekend and placed 22nd out of 207 players. I went 6-2 out of 8 rounds. My only losses were to Rescue Ace round 1 because of Brick Hand game 3, and then Salamangreat round 4. Maybe I misplayed that round, and it was possible to win. I don't know, but yeah, still got my invite with it, so did decently overall, but let's get into it. So first, 3 tour guide, best starter for the deck. Anybody who's not playing this card in this deck is just incorrect in my opinion. Card's just really good. Every time it resolves, you feel like you're so far ahead. The Rhinos go with it. And for Unchained monsters, 3 of Big Red Dog. This card's like by itself makes the deck good. Basically, this plus this and Yama made the deck like insane. And it happened quite a few times where if you have these two together in your opening hand, it just feels so strong because if your opponent tries to imprint the tour guide, you just chain this, pop your tour guide, resolve it, and then it's really hard to lose. Then 3 Aruha. 1 Shyama, 1 Rakia, 1 Sarama. I've seen people play more of these. I kind of wanted to play a second one of this because it was coming up sometimes in testing. But at the regional, didn't really miss the second one. In most games, like most of the time, it's fine with just the one. So, yeah. And then we play the Abominable Unchained Soul. This card's really good going second and breaking boards. It was in my hand when I bricked a couple times, unfortunately, but still a really good card. And then I also played the Dog, the Disaster. This card's, again, really good going second, helping break boards, but really good in the mirror as well. But it only came up like once at the regional that I actually used this. Got sided out going first a lot. There's a debate whether this should be main decked or side deck, but I think it's still a good enough card where you have to play it. This gives a really big advantage in the mirror. That's it for Unchained monsters. We got 3 Ash, of course, 3 Nib. I chose last second to put Nib in the main deck over Joel because I was scared of the mirror match. And it turned out that was probably a decent decision. I played 2 mirror matches, and Nib actually did like win me one of those games. So, it was definitely very strong. And Nib did put in work against several other matchups too. It put in a lot of work against Salamangreat, and a couple other matchups as well. So Nib was very good. That's it for monsters. Spells, 3 Prison. It's a Rhoda. That's also not a brick if you drop multiples of it because it also summons anything from deck when it's popped. So insane card. 3 Prosperity. I mean, you have to play it in this deck. I was like really considering just not spending the money to get these because I was thinking, I don't really need the card. But after playing a lot of games testing online with the deck before I got it, got the real cards, I came to the conclusion that you absolutely do need Prosperity to have the consistency be decent enough. And even with it, it's still sometimes you just get really unfortunate hands, like against my round 1 against Rescue Ace. I just opened like unplayable. So Prosperity is needed in the deck. And then we got 2 Book of Moons. I had to cut the third one. There was just not really space. I wasn't going to play over 40. But this card was good. I mean, this card bought me like turn. When I bricked, it bought me turns, to try to get back to engine to play. Just because stopping like the first normal summon is just like really strong, and a lot of decks can't push through that. And it also came up once to protect my own effects to resolve. So, like my opponent tried to Veiler my Shyama effect to pop my own trap. I chained Book of Moon, and they tried to chain Imperm, thinking that it would actually negate it, but because of the way Book of Moon works, we used 2 hand traps basically for nothing in that situation, and I got to resolve my trap anyway. So yeah, Book of Moon's really good. It was in theory really good against like Pearly too and Kashtira, but I actually didn't play against either of those decks. So then we got 2 Thrust. Thrust is insane in this deck, just because it gets you to engine like multiple ways. Even if like you just ash you or something, you can just get the trap, and then you can get one of the traps off of this, and then just keep playing. So yeah, this card's really good. And of course, going second, you can get the talents, or you can get, any of the board breakers that get sided in. So yeah, Thrust is also just a very versatile card. And while it's not absolutely necessary for the deck, I feel like it does really help a lot. So two Thrusts, although it was in my hand dead a couple of times, but overall it still did a lot. And of course the one talents. This was insane in the mirror match. I took his Abomination and just killed him with it. So that was pretty good. For traps, we've got the 3 escape. This is pretty much standard. You can't really afford to play less than this. I mean, when going second, sometimes one gets sided out, but that's really all you can afford to lose. And then only 2 chambers. I didn't really miss the third. 2 of this one's fine for the most part. And then 3 Imperm as last cards. Pretty standard. For the extra deck, we played 2 Yamas. I had the third one in there for a little bit. Decided to cut it kind of last second. And the third one never came up. So yeah, two of this was fine. Really broken card though. It's actually a custom card, how broken that card is. 2 Solar Rages. I see some people with 3, but you really don't need the third one. I don't even think the second one came up at all for the regional I played. But yeah, very good card. 2 Anguish. Again, I don't think the second one of this came up at all, but you still kind of have to play 2 just in case, for long grindier games, or that's the mirror match. The second one of this can come up. We get the Abomination. I actually don't think I ever summoned my own Abomination the entire day. I used talents to take my opponent's Abomination, but I never actually made my own. It's never needed to. And then I played a Muckraker. I borrowed this from a friend, so I don't have it, but it actually never came up the entire tournament. What did come up, though, was Unicorn. Unicorn was very, very good. Many times summoned off of Solar Rage, and you just get 2 interruptions out of it. So it's really good against a lot of decks if they go normal summon a guy, special summon a guy, like Infernoble, for example, in that matchup. They normal summon a guy, special summon a guy. You go Solar Rage, link off the special summon guy, go into Unicorn, and then spin the normal summon card, and they have to have multiple extenders to keep going, and they just usually don't. So yeah, those were really good. Access Code never came up at the regional, but it did come up at locals a couple of times. I've considered cutting this, but it did single-handedly win a game at a local I played this weekend, because my opponent had a Druid Worm on the field, and I used the Soul of Anguish to link up into this and activate the effect, and they cannot respond with Druid Worm there, which is really good. And Goddess didn't come up at the regional again, but again, good to have in theory, just to be able to out whatever problematic card. And being a Fiend is also important, because you can go into it when you're Fiend locked. Then I played 2 of the DDD. The second one did not come up at the regional, but there was a couple games at locals where I wanted the second one, so I decided to put the second one in over the third Yama. And I mean, I don't know if this is really correct. The second one's not needed. I mean, it could come out for something else. I could put Griffin back in. I had Nightmare Griffin in, and I'd cut that. But that could come back in maybe for the second one of this. I don't know. You have a little bit of flexibility with this extra deck. But yeah, this card is really good. It's part of your main end board, and just 2 negates. And I mean, I went over how good this card is when I topped YCS Hartford with the actual DDD deck, so I'm happy that this card's actually seeing competitive play in another deck, that I get to actually play this card again after so long, because it's just that good. Then we got the Machine X, because it's a way to get into a 4 material Zeus. You put it on top of this, which rarely comes up, but sometimes it can. And also there are some matchups, like there was a guy playing Flu Underies at the top tables, and if that matchup ever comes up, being able to go into this, the Caesar does nothing in that matchup, so you just go into this instead, and this actually does do a lot against that matchup. So yeah, this card's really strong overall. And I mean, it didn't come up at the regional, but in theory, it's nice to have. I mean, usually it's banished off Prosperity, but it was there. And then last card, Zeus. Again, for being able to put on top of this, or being able to talents, take something and then make a Zeus. Again, didn't come up, but in theory. And that's it for the extra deck. On to side. We sided the Droll and Mockbirds. I had the Nibiru's in my side, last second had Drolls in the main and then decided to switch it because I was scared of the mirror. And these were fine on the side. I mean, in the main deck, I didn't really miss them. They were still good when they came in. I definitely, they put in work against Mannadium and Infernoble and one of the salad matchups. I drew this. It was pretty good. Yeah, Drolls were solid, but I think it's probably better off on the side than in the main going forward. Then we got Bestials. These came in the mirror, and they came in against... actually, I don't know if I put them in against any other matchup. But actually, I think they came in against Mannadium, but I didn't see them. In theory, they're good, though. I just never drew them. And they were also for Labyrinth, which I didn't see either. Next, we got 3 Book of Eclipses. I only sided these in a couple of times. I sided them going first against Mannadium and Infernoble. I think I drew it once, and then I stopped. I used it to stop a normal summon against the Mannadium player. But yeah, it was these are really for going second against Cash or Pearly, but I just didn't see those matchups. So, I mean, this card's still very strong in this format. Just adds a lot of boards. I played 2 Cosmic. Cosmic was actually pretty good. It went in against a lot of matchups. So this card is just very versatile, and it's really, really good in the mirror. So yeah, Cosmics are fine. And then we got the 1-ofs for Thrust. We got Duster, which actually won me a game against the mirror match, funnily enough. I sided this in because I didn't know it was a mirror match. They only showed me Live Twin cards, so I thought it was Live Twin Sprite or something, because it was start with Live Twin, and then set 2, pass. And so I thought it was just the Live Twin, some kind of Sprite deck or something where they were playing back row. So I put in Duster. Then it was actually a mirror match and Live Twin Unchained. And I drew this card and I hit a Book of Moon with it, which was really important, which let me push through with everything I had. So only time it resolved, but yeah, it was very key to win that game. We got Herald of the Abyss again for the Pearly matchup. I was again kind of scared of that matchup, and just didn't see it, which means this card never got sided in. So and then we've got lastly D-Barrier and Evenly. I wanted to play more D-Barriers because this card is just not a win when you resolve it, pretty much. Just completely stops the turn. But I did not resolve either of these cards, I think. I drew Evenly once, and it was pretty much dead because my opponent had bricked that game. So, yeah, these didn't really do anything, but in theory, they were good to have as options for Thrust. So that's the deck. Thank you guys for watching. I'll put my matchups in the description. Round 1 was Rescue Ace. Lost 2-1 because of the brick hand game 3. My hand was really, really bad. It was double Book of Moon, Cosmic Cyclone, Droll, Abominable Unchained Soul was my opening. Droll bought me a turn. I drew into Thrust, and then the 2 Book of Moons bought me a turn. And I drew into another Thrust. So literally no way I could play. And then round 2, I played against a mirror match. I 2-0'd it. My hand was really good game 2, where he made me go first for some reason, and I was able to play around Nib because I had enough engine pieces to where I could make the DDD on the 5th summon, and then keep playing after that to set up Solar Rage and the trap. So won because of that. Round 3, I played against Salamangreat, 2-0'd it. I Nib-Eared him game 2, yeah, that was just a pretty easy match. Round 4, it was also against Salamangreat, and I lost this one. I might have made a misplay game 3. I mean, it was also just partially unfortunate circumstances. Game 1, I bricked. I top decked Prosperity on my. I top decked Prosperity to unbrick, and he asked the Prosperity, but I had Thrust. And I Thrust for Abomination's Prison. His last card in hand is Droll, so it stops me. Can't keep going. So that was a bit unfortunate. And then game 3, I had the option of normal summoning Tour Guide or normal summoning Rakia to try to, play around. Because if I summoned Tour Guide, I lost really hard to Asher Imperm because I didn't have the Sharvara. So I was trying to play around that, but then I actually lost to the Salamangreat Rage because I summoned Rakia, activated Ruha, he chained the Rage, and I could only get 1 body on board, and it just wasn't enough to actually keep going. So maybe a misplay. If I summoned Tour Guide there, I think I'd probably win that game, but I don't know. And then my round 5 was against Infernoble, 1-2-1. And that's really just a die roll matchup, honestly, where if you lose the roll and they set up going first, you're gonna have a bad time, unless you have like Joel or Nib. But I won the roll thankfully and 1-2-1. Mannadium was around 6. Basically, same principle applies. Same similar thing happened. Won the roll 1-2-1. Round 7 was against a weird like Swordsoul synchron deck. I don't know exactly what it was, but his first turn he won the roll, and he just activated Desires, drew 2, and passed with absolutely nothing. And my hand was also weird, but I was able to thankfully push through the hand traps that he had, and I was able to take that one. And then round 8 was another mirror match. But this was like they were playing live twins in the deck too, and won that one 2-0 because of the Harpy's Feather Duster in game 2 there. So that was all the games, and got 22nd place. And it was a fun event. And I guess I'll be back with whatever deck I choose to play next after this. Although I'm hoping I can stay on Unchained for a little while, but there could be a ban list around the corner, so who knows. But anyway, thank you for watching, and that's it.